Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano. It is Wednesday, August the 7th. Ian Cameron with you, and we are ready for another MLB card. Well, it's actually already underway. There's a few day games, but still plenty of games left for the remainder of the MLB slate. We've got Arizona Cleveland game 2 of their doubleheader coming up with Eduardo Rodriguez, Carlos Carrasco. Game 2 of their doubleheader, minus 110 both sides, 8 the total. Both of these teams are on overruns, and I don't trust either pitcher, Rodriguez or Carrasco, for that matter. So I do like over 8 in that game. We already saw the first game fly over the total, and like I said, both Arizona and Cleveland are both trending over the total of late. So I definitely like runs there in that game. Really nothing more to add. Pretty straightforward. All right, let's carry on. We've got San Diego and Pittsburgh. Michael King, Marco Gonzalez, the pitching matchup. Padres minus 160, road favorites, 8 the total in this game. I like the Padres team total over again. Cashed with it last night in their victory over the Pirates. I think they got a chance to score runs again. I like the way their offense is going, but I don't know if Pittsburgh is going to follow through against Michael King because he has definitely been in some very good form lately for this San Diego Padres team. Pitched really consistently for them, 2 runs or less in 5 straight starts. But I don't trust Marco Gonzalez. He got lit up by Arizona and knocked out after 2.1 innings in his last start against the Diamondbacks, gave up 4 runs on 7 hits. So to me, running it back with Padres team total over 4.5 here in this game, I definitely think it's the best approach here for Padres versus Pirates. Keep riding this improving, I guess you could say, San Diego offense, which again got the job done with the team total last night as well in their victory over the Pirates. Next up, Cincinnati, Miami. Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds, taking on for the Miami Marlins. It is Valente Balozzo here for Miami. We've got Cincinnati minus 125, minus 130 road favorites, 8.5 the total. It is Cincinnati looking for a sweep here in Miami. I think they might have a chance to get that sweep. I lean to the Reds. The one concern is Abbott has been not nearly as sharp at times in his last 3 or 4 starts, but certainly should be able to pitch well here against a Marlins team. I think they've been pretty dismal, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 196 against lefties in the last 10 games for the Miami Marlins. That is definitely not what you want to see. So I would have to give Andrew Abbott a little bit of the edge here as far as pitching is concerned in this game. And certainly the Reds bats have been more alive in this series so far than Miami. So minus 125, minus 130. Look toward the Cincinnati Reds for me as far as that matchup is concerned. All right, we move along. We've got San Francisco and Washington. Blake Snell on the mound for the San Francisco Giants, the lefty, and it's going to be Irvin here, Jake Irvin for Washington. San Francisco minus 160, road favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. Jake Irvin for the Nationals on the mound here. Pitching on the road, he's kind of struggled. Pitching at Nationals Park, though, has been a little bit better for him, 3.69 ERA. Not a great win-loss record, but certainly has been a little bit more effective at home. Blake Snell, what can you say about him? He's been just sensational, really, since the early part of July. He has pitched 5 starts since July 9th, and he has given up no runs in 4 of those 5 starts. So he's shut out and blanked the opponent in 4 of his last 5 starts, and he's given up just a grand total of 2 earned runs over a span of his last, I'm counting it up here, 33 innings, and he has given up just 2 runs during that span. So to say Blake Snell is in good form right now would be an understatement. He's obviously pitched very well going into this game. That's why he's a sizable road favorite. But, Giants are off a loss yesterday. It's a nice bounce back spot. They do have the right guy on the mound here probably for this game. So I would lean a little to San Francisco. I'm not betting it, though. It's just a little pricey for my liking, but certainly hard to step in front of what we're seeing here from Blake Snell here in the last month. The one concern, though, would be that if you actually look at overall numbers and you especially look at the last 5 or 10 games, the Nationals have hit lefties pretty good. Will that translate tonight, though, against a red-hot surging Blake Snell? That's the ultimate question. All right, next up, as we continue along, LA Angels, New York Yankees. This is the second game of a day-night doubleheader between the teams. We've got Fulmer and Will Warren, the pitching matchup. Minus 290, home favorites, 9 the total. Not betting this probably, especially with it being a doubleheader game. We'll see how the first one plays out. What I do know is the New York Yankees, they did have their struggles for a bit, but we have seen the lineup start to improve just a little bit during this recent couple of weeks. And certainly that's helped them get out of their recent struggles, recent doldrums. Carson Fulmer, he's been actually pretty decent. He's given up 3 runs or less in 4 straight starts. What will we get out of Will Warren is the big question, but just a pass for me. Don't really have a strong opinion here. Second game of the Angels and Yankees doubleheader there. All right, Baltimore, Toronto. We've got Rogers on the mound for the Baltimore Orioles, Trevor Rogers, and we've got Bowden Francis for the Toronto Blue Jays. It is Baltimore minus 130, minus 135 road favorites, 9.5 the total. Bowden Francis is a fringe arm, I guess you could say. Nothing to write home about. He actually pitched all right against Baltimore when he faced them last week at Camden Yards. He gave up a couple of early home runs. He did kind of settle down after that, but he's still not necessarily someone I'm rushing to trust against a Baltimore offense that actually got shut down last night. What a gem by Chris Bassett, holding the Orioles to just 1 run, and then the bullpen closed the door. They only gave up 1 run after that, and the Blue Jays got a 5-2 win. Certainly feels like Baltimore in a bounce-back spot. But I don't know if I trust Rogers fully. I think the offense for the Orioles will bounce back. They'll score some runs here. But Trevor Rogers, we'll see how he fares here in this. But you look at his time here since being acquired from Miami with this Orioles team, and that first start was not pretty. 5 runs, 6 hits in that game, 3 walks as well. Not what you want to see from Trevor Rogers in his Baltimore Orioles starting debut. So this is an over for me at 9.5. I think we'll see runs. Now, Baltimore, even with the under last night, still on a very strong over run, 6-4 in their last 10 games, 7-3 for the Blue Jays to the over their last 10. And I believe yesterday's 5-2 Toronto win was the first game in a bunch that Jays-Orioles game stayed under. So I don't think that happens again tonight. I would look at over 9.5 there. Milwaukee, Atlanta, Freddie Peralta, Chris Sale. Atlanta minus 160, home favorites, 8 being the total. We know Chris Sale's had just a outstanding comeback type of season. Consistently 2 runs or less. It's probably a nice little bounce back spot for him and the Braves, who got absolutely pounded by the Brewers last night. 10-0 Milwaukee in the game last night. Peralta, meanwhile, coming off a solid outing against this very Atlanta team. Actually, 2 runs, 3 hits, 6 innings, but a lot of the damage came after he left the game, as the Braves ended up winning it by a score of 6-2. And Sale was on the losing end of that. Same 2 pitchers going at it here. Nice bounce back spot probably for Atlanta. But again, we're talking about an offense that's been feast or famine. You don't know what you're going to get one game to the next. Don't want to fade Sale, but don't know if I love the price enough to bet Atlanta. So as of now, not involved. I would only look to Atlanta, though, and Chris Sale in this game if I were to take the side. All right, interleague, Tampa Bay, St. Louis, Taj Bradley, Eric Fedde, acquired at the deadline by St. Louis from the White Sox, will make his first start with this Cardinals team. We've got pretty much even money here in this one. Both sides minus 110, 7.5 being the total in this game. I like Bradley and the Rays a little bit. I know I recommended them yesterday on the Tuesday show, and they fell short 4-3. I still think it was worth a bet. They were right in that game. In fact, they had an early lead, but just the offense was shut down as the game progressed. I'm a big fan of Taj Bradley. I don't think it was his best start last time against Miami. 4 runs, 4 hits, 5 innings. But prior to that, he had been lights out, pitching great for the Rays. And Eric Fedde, look, he hasn't been nearly as sharp in the latter part of the last couple starts. Obviously, he's had a great season. That's why the White Sox have got him. 1.87 ERA he had in Chicago at home. 3.34 ERA still overall. How will he fare here in his debut with the St. Louis Cardinals is the big question. I still think I like Taj Bradley's, stuff a little bit more. Pops off a little bit. than it does for Eric Fedde. So Tampa Bay, I do like a little bit here. Nothing super strong, but like I say, Bradley is someone I've been circling as a bet on pitcher for the last few weeks. And I think he might be once again here in this game. And just because Fedde's making his St. Louis debut doesn't mean he's going to roll, doesn't mean he's going to win. You know, it doesn't always work that way. So I would still look probably at Tampa Bay in some form there. All right, Red Sox and Royals. Cutter Crawford, Cole Reagans, the matchup in this one. Kansas City minus 140 home favorites, 8.5 the total. I mean, for me, Boston and the over, you take that from a side and a total perspective right now in Red Sox games until proven otherwise, because their lineup is raking. We saw them come back last night, 6-5 in that game against Kansas City. They've scored 6, 9, 7, 11 in their last 4 wins. They've scored 4 runs or more in 5 straight games. They've gone over the total, Boston, in 5 straight games. 5 straight Boston games have gone over the total. And Cutter Crawford, for as much as I like the way he's pitched for the majority of the season. Maybe it's his innings creeping up, the innings count. He's getting fatigued. He's wearing down a little bit. Maybe his arm's getting tired, but it has not been the same Cutter Crawford the last 3 starts. He's been crushed. He's given up a whopping 12 homers in his last 3 starts. That is really worrisome. 12 homers given up by Cutter Crawford in the last 3 starts. He's given up 16 runs in his last 14 innings. It's definitely not what you want to see. Cole Reagans, though, I'll tell you what, there's been a couple of starts recently where labored a little bit. Long balls become a bit of an issue. He had issues with his control and command a little bit, although he minimized the damage against Detroit, no question. And he did pitch a gem against Boston earlier this year. Can he do that again? It's going to be a second look for a very red-hot lineup. And, you know, with the Red Sox and the form they're in, you're going to stick a plus price beside them. I'm inclined to look in that direction. So plus 120 on Boston, over 8.5. I think both of those have a decent chance to come through for you here when it comes to the Red Sox and the Royals. All right, Mets and Rockies. Paul Blackburn and Ryan Feltner, the matchup in this one. Mets minus 155, road favorites, 11 being the total in this game. We talked about Colorado. It was a good situational look yesterday. But it's only as good as it can be unless it comes through, and it did. Colorado catching a Mets team traveling for the 3rd straight day that had to stop in St. Louis on Monday, play a makeup game, and it was just the perfect situation for Colorado to take advantage of. Kyle Freeland had been pitching well at home, and he did enough to give the Rockies a 6-3 win in that game last night. Mets looking to bounce back with Paul Blackburn, who started 5 days ago against the Angels, pitched very well, 1 run, 6 hits, 6 innings in that game. He's given up 5 runs in 11 innings in his 2 starts since rejoining the rejoining from injury, because he started the season obviously with Oakland, dealt to the Mets at the trade deadline. His first start back was with Oakland against the Angels as well, struggled a bit, but pitched a lot better against the Angels in his first start with the New York Mets on August the 2nd. We'll see how he fares here. Feltner for the Rockies. He's actually pitched a little bit better than I'm accustomed to with him. That being said, against the Mets, he's had a tough time. His last 2 starts against them, earlier this year at Citi Field, and then last year in May, 2 starts against the Mets, 8 runs in just 7 innings. Not good for Ryan Feltner in his history here against the New York Mets. So that's a little dubious for me. But I don't want to lay minus 150 with the Mets. I would probably, if I lean Mets, I do in a bounce back spot. They are still the better team. I think Colorado just caught them in a tricky spot, tough scheduling spot. You go from LA, Anaheim area, Sunday to St. Louis, Monday to Denver, Tuesday. Tough turnaround, tough travel, tough scheduling situation for the New York Mets. Colorado took advantage of that, but I probably do prefer Blackburn here over Feltner. I would say if you like the Mets, take -1 on the run line, and you'll get a better price rather than laying the north of -150 that you would have to here with the Mets on the money line. All right, we got 2 games left: Tigers and Mariners. Tarek Skubal for the Tigers, and we've got George Kirby for the Seattle Mariners. Great pitching matchup. Seattle -135, 6. How about that for a total? Very low, but you understand why with the 2 arms on the mound. However, not one of the better efforts from Skubal in his last outing against Kansas City. 5 runs, 7 hits in 6.1 innings, 9-2 Royals win in that game. He will be looking to bounce back here in this one against the Seattle Mariners, a Seattle team that still only hitting .218 as a team against lefties in their last 10 games. What I like about Skubal, and I've said this all season about him, is very little home road dichotomy, if any. 2.41 home ERA, 2.76 road ERA. Not much of a difference there. I think he'll bounce back, pitch a lot better, give the Tigers a chance to win. I lean to the Detroit side here in this one. But George Kirby is someone I'm really high on as well as far as his recent form. And again, better numbers at T-Mobile Park here at home in Seattle with a 2.52 home ERA. He gave up just 2 runs in 5.1 innings against Boston in his last start. 2 runs or less now from him in 4 straight starts. Has had some trouble in his last 2 appearances and starts against Detroit, including last year where he got roughed up a bit. But this is definitely a George Kirby for Seattle that's in pretty good form right now. And the Mariners obviously looking to bounce back as well from a 4-2 loss to the Detroit Tigers last night. So it's a tough call. But Skubal, I don't bet against Skubal. Skubal's been a bet on or pass pitcher for me, even after one of his shakier games of the season. It's still that way. Detroit or pass, especially with them as an underdog, but I think I'm leaning more toward passing with this. Kirby, I respect his form. He's been good at home. So probably not going to have huge, if any, involvement in that game. All right, the final game for this Wednesday MLB slate, Philadelphia Phillies, LA Dodgers, one of the games of the night, certainly. We've got Tyler Phillips on the mound for the Phillies, Gavin Stone for the LA Dodgers. Dodgers minus 140 home favorites, 9 the total in this one. Gavin Stone, a little bit of a struggle here. 4 of his last 5 starts since the beginning of July, he has allowed at least 4 runs. Not necessarily what you want to see. So some struggles for Stone at the last 2 starts against Houston and Oakland. 9 runs, 17 hits in just 10 innings. So concerning stuff with a guy that for the most part had pitched pretty well this year for the Dodgers, Gavin Stone. Not so much the last few starts. Meanwhile, we've seen Tyler Phillips getting now his 5th start in a row in this Phillies rotation. He actually had a complete game shutout against Cleveland, July 27th. But as often can happen, a complete game shutout one game sometimes means that the things are going to maybe fall apart. You're going to maybe not be as good the next game. And certainly was that for Tyler Phillips against Seattle last weekend. 8 runs and 3 homers allowed in just 1.2 innings. And the Mariners just crushed the Phillies 10-2 in that game. So Tyler Phillips looking for a bounce back spot. It won't be the easiest team to do so against the LA Dodgers. They're actually curiously not hitting righties as well as they usually do. Keep in mind they have had some injuries, and keep in mind a lot of those games were without Freddie Freeman, who just made his much welcomed return to the Dodgers lineup here in this series. So I think the Dodgers here, after losing last night, probably worth a look. I'm a little concerned about Stone. I do like over 9 as well. Probably like the total a little bit more than the side because, as I said, I do have some concerns about just exactly what kind of performance we're going to see and what we're going to get here from Gavin Stone in this game. But I do lean Dodgers and do think we have a chance for this game to go over the total, which is sitting right now at 9. All right, there is the Wednesday MLB card. Shout out to everyone watching. Hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube, and shout out to everybody as well tuning in on either Facebook or Twitter X. A reminder, 6 months all sports discount. The time's ticking all of a sudden on this. Like August 24th is going to be here pretty quickly, the first day of the college football season. And that is when this offer expires to get 6 months all sports discounted at $250 US. It'll give you all sports subscription coverage now all the way through to February of next year for the entire NFL and college football season at Dub Club. 22.2 units of profit in NFL and college football combined last year. The season win totals and futures betting report for the NFL and college football is posted. The full report at Dub Club. So again, this 6 months discount for all sports at Dub Club, the full card, every wager, every day, only valid till August 24th, the beginning of the college football season. So again, $250 US for all sports now through February. The other options remain at their regular price at Dub Club. 1 month, all sports, $75. 3 months, all sports, $200. And 1 year, all sports, $750. If you want something less volume, lower volume, best bets, top plays only, that is where you go. So bet right here, $9.95 per month for a best bets, top plays only, lower volume subscription option. Profitable 11 of the last 7 days with the So Bet best bet card. So again, that is where you can find the top plays and the best bets only. So Bet, the URL on the screen. It's also posted on the Twitter X account, and it's $9.95 per month for that subscription for the top plays and best bets only in all sports. Again, because I've still gotten some questions about it, Dub Club is the full card, every single bet, every day, all sports. So Bet is just the top plays, the best bets only, and a lower volume card on a daily basis. All right, it is time for Best Bet here for this Wednesday edition of Bet with Bobano. And for Best Bet here for the tonight's slate, we're going to go to that Boston, Kansas City game. And I am very torn here. I'm not going to give you both, Boston and the over. I'm going to give you one or the other. What do I like more? And because Crawford's been crushed here in the last few starts, I'm going to go with the over instead. 8.5 with the Red Sox and the Royals. I know Reagans is very capable, but this is a very good hitting Boston team right now that has scored a minimum 4 runs in 5 straight games. So if they get to 4 runs, and keep in mind, Reagans won't be pitching all 9 innings. And the one thing about Reagans is he rarely goes past 5 or 6 innings. You're going to see a lot of Royals bullpen, which isn't very good. So Boston's got a chance to score runs late. Crawford's in alarmingly declining form right now. I think we get over 8.5 tonight with Boston and Kansas City, and I'll go with that for the best bet here for this Wednesday edition of Bet with Bobano. Great stuff. Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy, nearly a 2-hour show we recorded earlier today with Rob Vino. It was a great show. CFL Week 10, NFL and college football talk as well. I'll be posting that in the next hour or so on the channel. Make sure you tune into Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy for this week as well. I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the games and good luck tonight. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we'll see you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.